Hello and welcome back to the Smoke Room. We will be continuing Murdoch's portion of the story now. Just keeping up with Murdoch is a workout on its own. Just a day and I'm already starting to miss my time on the brothel. It doesn't take much time at all to get into the mood for my last client tonight. He wants my mouth, and I just want to suck. It doesn't matter who he is. I'm already sticky when I touch myself. He gets harder as he watches me paw. It feels good to have this energy again. I want all of it so bad that I start to whimper. The marble-furred fox holds my head down as he butts his hips. I swallow my reward with each hot burst. It sends me over the edge, too. He doesn't back up when some of it gets on his leg. He just groans and lets it happen. I clean off his balls, but I'm still in the mood. Thanks, is all he says before he leaves, and for once, I'm grateful. Things rarely get to be just transactional. I'm starting to think that the sex in a whore's line of work ain't the thing that bothers me. It's when a client knows that they ain't just trading money for a service, but a part of your life, and trying to get as much of that for free as they can. I know I can't just whore forever, but I don't think I could just be a shopkeeper for the rest of my life. I can't stay put just being one thing forever. I wonder if Murdoch has an out. I suppose that's his problem to worry about. But we both share a bigger problem. I know we both saw what happened to that picture. This is why I don't like being alone with my thoughts for too long. Hard to think about those things when there's a dick to focus on. A job to do, and a jolt of bliss. Easy. Simple. Alive. So I'm gonna go back to the shop in the morning. And I'll stay for as long as it suits me. I didn't sleep the best last night, but being out and about in the day helps limber me up. The front of the store looks less crowded than yesterday. I step inside. Alfred is handling a few customers at the front. I stroll around the store looking for Murdoch. There's no sign of him anywhere. I walk towards the back closet where the dark room is and knock on it. Nobody answers. I lean my head against the door for a few brief seconds. Judging by the lack of sound, nobody's inside. Just those pictures of Jack, sitting in the dark, all by themselves. Funny, ain't it? Even your photographs end up abandoned in the ass crack of the world. Just like old times, eh? You dirty old bastard. This is a waste of time. I know the room's locked, and Ralph or Alfred would ask questions if I look around the door for too long. But when I look across the store, I can't help but notice a part of the store dedicated entirely to photography on the opposite side. I check out the display case first. It's mostly just photos and envelopes and nature photography. This one's catching my eye for some reason. I don't decide if it's beautiful or if it's just something bothering me about it. The wall on the side of the store is full of pictures, just fancy wallpaper. Looks like a showcase for types of photographs you can order. There are tags for different kinds of frame styles and sizes. Everybody looks so still and so perfect, like they're made of porcelain. Like they're props. Hi there. You need something? I'm fine. The old fox gives me his scarecrow smile. You just look like you're under the weather. Was it because of the picture? He points to the one in my hand. I hold it up and take a look. Wouldn't surprise me if that's what spooked you. My son Murdoch took that one out in the woods, not too far from town. I feel my brow furrow. He's talking to me like I don't know who Murdoch is. I just introduced myself to him yesterday. That valley is particularly feared. Some say there's a beast that lives there that's as big as the mountains. Like a Goliath. It's hard to keep my impatience out of my voice. Like a big old slug that dangles from the mountaintop. Drops down on a whole mess of campers and gobbles them up. Ah. So... Speaking of Murdoch, I was looking for him. The old fox beams turned into a look of consternation. He leered at me for a moment, small green eyes squinting, as if putting 1 and 2 together. Well, he'll be at the school right now. Shit, that's right. Picture day. Put that back where you found it. The old fox was still talking, but the volume of his voice had raised to a shout. You'll smudge up the sides. Sorry. Now hurry on down to the school. Yes, sir. Old lunatic with dementia. Insensitive Sam. I break into a sweat. It takes me about 15 minutes or so to get there as the sun beats down on my neck. My hands are on my knees and I'm panting. There's so many people here today. Kids are running every which way, but most of them are headed to a clearing behind the school. There's patches of grass beneath pine trees and an open space. I see rows of tables set up with silver platters on top of sheets. The smell of firewood and sizzling meat lingers in the air. Glazed breads overflow from woven baskets. Jars of jam and honey are stacked in pyramids. Glittering pie discs shine with sugar from under glass domes. I try to find a free adult to speak to, but the only ones I see are preoccupied with their son or daughter, fussing with their clothes or with their fur. There's a group of girls under a pine tree up ahead. A bit nervous to approach them, though, would probably think I'm a weirdo. Still, I need some directions. Dead birds. Nothing good about it at all. There's nothing extraordinary about dead birds, Melissa. Birds don't live very long. Yeah, birds don't live for very long, Melissa. 20 of them just up and died? Groups of people die all the time. Why not birds? And why not the work of Providence? Surely Providence has more important things than birds to be bothered with. Or bothered by all things great and small. 20 small things to be exact. What, you counted? Of course I did. I could kill 21 birds if it would make you treat me just as special. Oh, I know you could, Blythe, but this is different. I swear on the Bible. Swear on tromping grounds. Stars above, Blythe. I know how committed she was to this fancy if she did. Well... Melissa's voice goes stern. Some man is minding us. Oh. You're that handyman who busted in our class the other day. She sighs. Need something, I suspect? Just looking for my employer. You mean Miss Byrnes, brother? Have you checked the auditorium? He's usually there all day on picture day. That makes things easier. Thanks a bunch. Hope you both find him. A chill goes up the back of my neck. I turn around expecting to see someone like Murdoch's mother, but there's nobody but a disorganized crowd. Excuse me? I'm by myself. Ah. My mistake. The heat must be getting to me. My tail can't help but twitch oddly while I walk away. All of the girls are dead quiet now. I didn't like that one bit. Made me feel like a giant weirdo. Except they were the ones being odd. Lousy kids. I head into the front door of the school where the secretary is waiting. I sign in and she gives me another visitor pin. The hallways are flooded with coming and going parents and students. I slip into the auditorium and look around. On one side of the stage, there's a box room that looks to be made out of a frame and curtains. Murdoch is standing in front of a crouching crowd of students with a large standing camera on a tripod. All done, enjoy the picnic. I step between the seats to let the two groups of students rush past me. Sorry I'm late. The fox still hasn't turned around yet. He crouches to pick up a canteen of water, takes a sip, then puts it back down, turning to face me. At first I was beginning to worry that you wouldn't show up. But then I remembered that I forgot to tell you to meet me here. So that's my fault. I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry about. We both had one thing on our mind yesterday. The fox's expression softened. I rarely have just one thing on my mind. But the photograph. The door of the auditorium opens loudly. The seniors are next. We'll have a lot of individual shots to take. Her expression sours when she sees me. Why isn't he dressed properly? Her gaze turns from me to her son. 32 years we've been holding semi-annual Picture Day picnics. Every man, woman, and child who grows up in Echo will be proud of their day spent in these halls. On Picture Day, they will dress their best, be served a plate of home cooking and pie, and be proud of themselves and their community. And we will look our best when we serve them. Ma'am, I apologize. This is my fault. These simple things are the best clothes I own. She smiles at me. Now, dear, you don't have to lie to cover up my son's mistakes. He's a grown man. He should have told you, because he knows how important this day is. I overlooked it. I'm sorry. She shakes her head. You sure are, but it can't be helped. I'll be back with a vest and a hat. Luckily, I know just the place to find them. Her gaze turns to Murdoch again. You will mind the seniors when they arrive. I'll be back. She leaves within a second. Christ. What the hell was that? The fox's expression seemed distant. What do you mean? I mean, why do you let her talk to you like that? Oh. That's just normal. She's always like that. I just tuned it out after a while. She has her ways of getting things done, and so do I. That's all. I won't let it be your problem. I could feel my mouth break into a scowl. I won't either. The door opens again. Gretchen was back with a gray vest hanging from one on her arm and a derby hat. This belonged to my cousin, but he got too twiggy for it. You look close to the right size. She thrust the hat and vest into my hand. I didn't hesitate to put it on. The fit was snug and the cap was tight, but I could move easily enough in the clothing. See, a handsome gentleman was hiding. Now let's give today our best. She leaves the auditorium again. I try to bring up the picture again, but students start strolling in, giving us little time to ourselves. The next few hours drag on. Students fidget and chatter while Murdoch tries to instruct them to pose a certain way or sit still. The vest is hot and itchy, and I'm feeling the sweat bead on the back of my neck. The next few hours go by slowly. By the time the last student is finished with their shot and they exit the auditorium, the two of us are breathing in relief. Murdoch closes his eyes and takes a seat, leaning against the railing. You doing all right, Fox? He rubs the bridge of his nose and opens his eyes again slightly. A bit. I just need something to eat. Why don't you go out to the picnic then? Somebody might need to take a makeup shot. Happens often enough. Why don't we go out and get a few plates for ourselves? Murdoch just shakes his head, still breathing heavy. Just go. I'll be fine. I'll bring you back a plate. He opens his eyes again and gives me a weak smile, then a shake from his head. He's probably dehydrated. We've been working our asses off. Once we're outside again, I make a beeline for the tables. There's considerably less food now. I pick up a paper plate and start piling on the meat and veggies. I don't actually know if Murdoch likes pie, but he's getting a slice anyway. Well, look at what the wind blew in. I nearly dropped my plate. Cliff? I hushed my voice to a whisper. The hell are you doing here? I realize at this moment that one of Murdoch's sisters stands next to him, the tiny astronomer with the big glasses that sit on her snout. The courier was encouraging the whole town to go. I was told that this is something of a tradition. Isn't that why you're here, Sam? He's helping my brother with the picture day events. Pictures, you say? I'm in need of professional photographers. You know, I'm not a photographer, Cliff. I've been having an extraordinary day discussing ideas with Mr. Tibbets. He has an excellent eye for details. Perhaps the both of you would get along famously. We're already acquainted. Yes, but we could be better acquainted. Speaking of acquaintances, come meet us, Holly. She waves her arm spastically in the air, and I follow her gaze. Murdoch's other sister, sporting an emerald-plaid summer dress, glides towards us. To her left is Ralph, stalking towards us, who's one of the last people I want to see right now. To her right, on her arm, is a marbled fox I sucked off last night. Shit. The universe continues to conspire against me. Good afternoon, darlings. Her glance flicks to me. Working on one of our longest days of the year on your second day isn't the best of luck. She fans herself with a paw as she speaks. I hope the picture day picnic doesn't scare you away. I force a polite laugh. I've dealt with scarier, miss. Of course you have. You've met my juniors. Nothing too scary, I hope. Good Lord Almighty, I need to escape this. Well, if the rest of you can be brave, we'll just have to follow at our wedding next week. Escape this right now. Congratulations. Right now. This is my fiancé, Jim. What the fuck are you doing, Sam? Good to see you. Why? Jim, the fox I blew yesterday, looks at me in the eye, then away, then nods gruffly. Why won't God let me die right now? Do you have a bug stuck in your throat, Jim? She rolls her eyes. Ralph is squinting at me. I don't think Murdoch is feeling so well, so I want to get him a plate of food to him. Right now. He better not be skipping meals again. Sick? If you're bringing Murdoch a plate and a drink, then I must insist that I do the same for you, Sam. Thank you. That is a wonderful idea. I'm leaving now. Ah. My pace is nearly a jog. Maybe I should insist on being a waiter to Harlan. After all, I still haven't spilled Murdoch's food yet moving this fast. That conversation took longer than I thought it would. How dreadful. When I get back to the auditorium, I expect to see Murdoch curled up or on his back, heaving. But he's sitting up like normal, like everything's fine. I feel a sense of relief, which is a little strange since I don't know this fella. Or his shifty family. I don't know if you like pie, so I got you a small piece. You thought right. I'm picky. But I like pumpkin. Well done. I like pumpkin too, Murdoch. He winks at me. My ears perk, and I feel a little hot. We hear a slam at the front of the auditorium. Ralph steps into the room, looking around awkwardly until he makes it to the front. Oh. You're okay. Yeah? Why wouldn't I be? The model said you weren't. Pardon me, but Sam is not a model. The three of us flinch as we see Cliff is inside the auditorium too, now holding a plate. He's a gentleman and a handyman, and he's made me feel very welcome in Echo. He knows what my job is, Cliff. He does? Who, pray tell, is this Pommy? He's an anthropologist. And he's like us. I could tell, Murdoch. I do have eyes and ears. What's that supposed to mean? Ignore him. There's some reason you're here, isn't there, Cliff? Yes, well... I'm trying to put together a small expedition, so to speak. I want to travel to the Meseta settlement for my research, and the only guide who's interested is leaving today. Dahlia assured me that your parents would approve of such an endeavor. And I implore you that costs would not be an issue. I don't think I could prepare for everything by tonight. You would have had to have asked me yesterday. But my guide has to leave tonight. Could your guide wait for a day? I could ask. But it may not be possible for him to wait. Murdoch shifts in his seat. Well, you did say it would be a lot of money, right? And a lot of fun. The fox is smiling still, but one of his paws is trembling. I'm starting to wonder if he needs medicine or something. I hate to interrupt wherever this is trying to go. But you don't seem like the type of fellow who's used to being told no. And you aren't at best at picking up body language either. So I'll put this plainly. He's not going with you today. He does not want to go with you today. You could try again later. But for now, fuck off. I can see the cheeks below Cliff's fur goes red as he looks to Ralph, to me, to Murdoch, and as he bites his lower lip. He puts down the plate of food on a chair and whimpers, turning to leave through the front door. Christ, Ralph, you didn't have to go that far. Apparently I did, because you don't know how to say no. I'm going to go apologize for you. That better be all you do. Thanks for making today harder, Ralph. Murdoch walks out the door. Stubborn ass. I can't believe I didn't have any popcorn for that. Well, that went smoothly. They both needed to hear it. That weasel's a manipulator who's rather bad at it, and the fox is addicted to labor. And you have a personality that clears out the room. And you're a fuckboy. We all have our vices. This guy. I'd rather him be irritated with me for a little while than sick for a long while. It's just... Aren't you acting like you're his pappy or something? Somebody ought to. I've known his whole family for a lot longer than you have. You've seen how they treat him. He pretends like it doesn't bother him, but it does. And he makes bad decisions to lash out. Bad decisions like me? Yeah, you're one of many. He certainly doesn't pull his punches. Amazing. You know I'm not wrong. Doesn't matter if you're the nicest guy on the block. I'm still terrified of the scandal you could cause, and if you're in trouble, the whole business could fall down the drain. I just don't know about that, in honesty. Ralph narrows his eyes. About what? Murdoch ain't the most secretive flirt himself. Ralph scowls. You can say I'm attracting bad attention all you like, but I'd wager the fox attracts more. I'd spent most of my life keeping my head low, but the fox treats being how we are like it's some sort of game. Ralph's scowl melts, and he looks away, putting a 100-mile stare. I can tell that you've thought about this before, too. He'd have been caught by now, wouldn't he? I can't say for sure. Horseshit. The rat starts to look deeply troubled. Well, he certainly gets away with more than I could, and I do find it particular. But what is done, and whatever happens, happens. He knows I'm not a yes man, and he likes that. It's probably why he's intrigued by you as well. Aside from your dick. How interested that you keep bringing that up. Don't push it. I crack a smile and let out a cackle. The doors open again, and Murdoch pushes through, looking at me. He'll be alright. And you told him no? I told him no. Murdoch lets out a heavy sigh. He was really upset that he wouldn't be able to get enough people together for his expedition. So I'm gonna help him look for him a set of folks in town later in the week. He's paying you, right? Of course. I just don't know if I want to take it. And why not? Well, he has a lot of it and tends to throw a lot of it every which way. Ralph turns to me and crosses his arms. That's not good. Red would have taken it without asking questions. We have to stop talking about this here. Of course. Dumb of me. The hair sticking up on Murdoch's tail relaxed a bit. Could both of you help me pack up the equipment? Sure. Course. It takes about an hour to collapse the curtains, store the camera and props in a closet, pack up all the film into boxes. We each take a crate as we head back to the store. This might be the earliest you've escaped picture day. Just one trip was all it took. The rat smiled and lifted his eyebrows. Want to go to the spot? Could bring Loverboy along and show him how we relax. I'd much prefer getting a head start on development. Ralph sighs. Suit yourself. At least you'll be here where I can keep an eye on you. I, on the other hand, have had more than enough exercise for one day. I'm taking a break. It's not like you need my permission. Yet. Already licking your chops over promotion, huh? The prospect, at least. Enjoy your slacking while it lasts. Yeah. Murdoch starts whistling as he makes his way over to the dark room door, and Ralph looks back at him for a second. I know that look. It's the same one Dora gives us after our client goes too far. But he retracts into his office behind the counter. Murdoch doesn't notice, disappearing into the dark room. You coming, Sam? The frame of the door reminds me of the mine shaft the more and more I stare at it, and the room under the stairs is inky black. Comin'. I step on in and Murdoch turns on the light. I see the rest of the developed pictures of Jack's body hanging from the corked board. There's a lot more decay on the corpse than I thought there'd be. But that's a good thing, right? It took too long for us to be alone again. I knew he had been waiting to talk about this all day. But I already regret coming back to the dark, cramped place. I want to know what you saw yesterday in a little more detail. My eyes drift away from the photos of Jack. Murdoch leans upon a counter, staring back. I'd like to, but it's difficult to talk about. He pulls a photo sitting on the counter and pushes it to my hand. All you have to do is describe what you see. All right. I stare at it again and feel cold, like I'm back there in the deep with Jack's dead body. Milky white eyes in the dark. Like they're blind or dead, but they're still looking through you. Like his eyes. Murdoch interrupts gently. Like whose eyes? God's. Or the devil's. I don't know. What else do you see? Sand, rock, darkness. It's the mines. Murdoch's hand crosses mine as he pulls a photo from my grasp. What I saw yesterday was a photograph I took in 1901. I saw trees, circus tents, and people eating spun sugar. And a group of boys who were about to cast their fishing lines. My brother was one of them. That was not the last picture I took that day. But I am grateful that I didn't see the other one. But when I look at it again today, I see a stranger's decaying skull. But that's not what you see. He rubs the side of his nose with his sleeve and looks down. Let's take a short respite from all this grim talk. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with Dahlia once about a vision. She said that everything that we see is just reflected light. That we're not seeing what is really there, not honestly. Just everything that wasn't absorbed by an object bouncing back at us. Pictures capture these reflections through chemical reactions. A ghost of the past, preserved perfectly on paper. That's what I used to think anyway. But I've been developing photos in Echo for almost 2 decades. And there's often something wrong with them. Sometimes it's a little thing, like buttons that are blacked out, or a missing watch. Then sometimes an entire person is missing from the photo. But rarely, when I'm not thinking about it, and rarely when I'm staring directly at it, and know what something's wrong. Usually it happens out of the corner of my eye. Or when I'm focused on some new project, but then return to an old one and I find something completely unfamiliar. I used to cry myself to sleep, thinking my ability to remember things was unraveling. But you're looking at a photograph today, seeing something completely different from me, and it doesn't change back. It's because I don't want to hide from you. No. Why don't you take the picture from his hand again? Look again. See the real me. I've seen you. Real you. Real you. No higher cause. An empty vessel. Where is that sound coming from? I cover my ears to stop the noise, but it doesn't work. A bloated body, sustained in sloth. Damnation reeks and clings. I will sprout in your dying skin. I will be God for you. You all want to be useful. With your bloated bellies, dragging, stuffed with my bounty. My land. I am the sacred, ugly truth. This one smells the rot on you. See it in his hesitations. He will burn you alive to enrich his fields. Kill him. Kill him. Save yourself and kill him. No sex, no food, no laughter and death. Just sand, just clay, just oblivion and mud. Tears flow from my eyes as I sink to the ground. Every memory will unspool. Every touch you feel will numb. How sad for you to die. How soon for you to die. Humiliated harlot. I'm choking in this horrible tiny room. I can't see, but somehow I know that long-limbed thing surrounded me in this place. They smell like funeral chemicals. They have only pulsing veins, no skin. And they drip on me. Kill the fox. Murdoch tears the photograph in half. Ew, the ox. He tears it into quarters. I hear its unintelligible squealing. Like all the pictures are singing. Then they stop. My sobbing howls fill the dark room. Murdoch sits on the floor next to me. I flinch when he touches me, but he's soft and warm, not slimy and sharp. He's smaller than me, but he rocks me like I'm a baby. Please stop crying. I promise it's okay. I promise we're not crazy. I open my eyes to see if he's crying too, or if he looks scared or disgusted. But he isn't. He looks determined. and I have no idea why. Not a damn clue why. I heard voices, and I saw that fair at Lake Emma in the photograph again. He looks sickened now. Then you were looking at the back of the photo. Then you fell on the floor. I was scared for you. You were having a case of the fits. He wipes my tears with his sleeve. But I'm relieved. It's just a black cloud. Just an overcast of ill humors. My jaw drops as I stare back at him. Ill humors? I'm mumbling. Ill humors? He puts both of his paws on mine and squeezes. His voice is harsh. Not just. I've lived most of my life in this town, but I spent some of my summers elsewhere. So I know that unique things happen here. And I don't think it's just sometimes. I think it's all the time. Incrementally. Dot by dot. Inch by inch. Sometimes it's buttons missing from a photograph. Sometimes it's a missing person. And in a town where people are constantly being touched and remade slowly, a case of the bad humors sounds a lot less threatening to say than that the photograph changed. Or that they talk. Does that make sense? No. It doesn't. But I nod anyway. And I keep crying away. And he doesn't stop holding me. This place changes us. Unless we notice and choose to change ourselves first. Change how? Murdoch pulls away from me and crosses his arms. Well, there's a lot of ways. I found some that feel like they work for me. He frowns. We may already have some in common. Murdoch, what are you talking about? The fox's ears flick and his glance switches from one wall of photos to another. Let's talk about it elsewhere. Murdoch pushes himself off the ground and lends me his wrist. He pulls me up briskly with a strained grunt. Then he looks me over again. Why don't you wait outside while I collect the photos? I avoid his gaze. We both know that there's something wrong with these pictures. Wouldn't it be better idea just to tear them all up? He tore up one of the shots himself. Maybe... Murdoch turns around and crosses his arms, as if he's actually considering listening to me. I don't think they'd leave the same impression on the sheriff. He plucks the shots from the string, opens a cabinet, and pulls a manila envelope out to encase them, then tucks them beneath his arm. We walk out the dark room, and Murdoch locks it behind us, and we keep walking until we get to the storefront. I think I should get these to William. When? His brow furrows. As quickly as possible, so right now. My heart beats faster. Isn't it late? He rents the apartment above the jail, so he's almost always there. He puts the envelope in a small briefcase and snaps it shut, looking at me out of the corner of his eyes. Personally, just between you and me, I think none of these shots will reveal information that William doesn't already know. But the sooner they pass from my paws to his, the better. That's a queer thing to tell me. So then, what's the point of handing them over in the first place? It leaves a paper trail to cover his ass when higher-ups poke into his work. Shows them that he's not twiddling his thumbs if a perpetrator doesn't get caught. My gaze lingers on the briefcase. So, do you think there's a perpetrator? Murdoch's shoulders heave as he lets out a sigh. Frankly, it doesn't matter what I think. Our business is paid to take these photos and pass them on, not to interpret them. And considering what we both saw tonight, we know that my testimony won't always be accurate anyhow. Then why look at pictures at all if you know that they can come out wrong? They could mislead people. Might even make them think things that they shouldn't be thinking. I'm fairly certain that the core of the photo, that what's contained in the pictures doesn't change. Just the perception of the person who's looking. So pictures can still prove useful when being mindful. I let out a bitter laugh. And you think William is mindful? Murdoch's tail flicks from side to side. Of evidence? Of course I do. Not so much mindful of the feelings of a couple of hicks who claim that the pictures can change, and only in this town. He strikes me as the kind of man who needs to experience something on his own to believe it's possible. I guess I can't say I'm much different. Can't say I am either. He smiles. That's why I miss younger me. He wouldn't believe in a lot of the things I do today. His smile turns into a frown. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm just being stalled. His eyes narrow as he looks me over. We've had a rough day. Come with me. Damn it. I'm running out of time. Why? Because I don't think you should be by yourself right now. I think a familiar face would do you some good. Fine. Let's go. Maybe I could grab the pictures and run. But that would just make Murdoch tell William what happened. He'd be on to me. Murdoch knocks on the door of William's office. I don't hear a thing. Murdoch knocks again. I hear some low grumbling before the door finally opens. William looks a little more tired than usual. He smells like booze. Oh, it's just you. Not just me. William peers behind the fox and his expression softens. Oh, Sam too. I'm sorry to say it, boys, but I have no time for pleasure right now. Some things came up. Nothing to worry about. We're here to deliver the pictures. Something peculiar happens when the briefcase passes from Murdoch's hand to William's. First, it feels like every small mistake I had ever made in my life adds up to this moment. Each thing I did wrong is another strand making up the noose that tightens around my neck. But then I feel lighter. Like all the pressure is leaving me, almost as if the air were thinner. It's as if all of this is out of my hands. As if it really was just a pile of mundane pictures revealing nothing new or damning. That was quicker than usual. Sam here helped me cut the labor in half. William smirked at me. Did he now? Maybe I shouldn't be so concerned about him after all. You better be paying him what he's worth, Fox. No cheating him. I'd pay him more if I could, but a fox has to eat too. I'm right here, you know. William, what's taking so long? I can't recognize the voice, but it sounds like it belongs to a woman. All the confidence and energy in his voice seems to leave him. Again, I hate to cut this short, boys, but I really have to turn you away right now. Wait, one last thing. The coyote sighs, and I can tell he's lost his patience. Have you seen Nick? Not for a few days, no. Not since the night of the riot. I've seen him moseying about town at the very least. Oh. Then how come he hasn't come to see me yet? When can you be in touch again? Not for a while. He slams the door in our faces. I hear Murdoch tisk. Damn. I had hoped we could bully him into some poker. You were right, though. Seeing William did clear my mind. That's good. No, it isn't. He looked miserable and scared. It was the most disorganized I had ever seen him. You told me today that this place changes people. Is it changing William too? Murdoch's lips pursed. Maybe. He made a spinning gesture with his paw in the air. Probably. He was drinking, wasn't he? Yeah, I could smell it too. we might have walked in on him in a bad time. He hasn't lived here for very long, so I doubt it could be affecting him much. Then again, you haven't lived here for very long either, but your reactions are extreme. I wait for him to press on me that, but for some reason, he never does. I want to know how I can protect myself. I'd share what I know, but I don't think you'll like it. I need to know. Then let's go back to the shop. And I'm gonna leave it there for today because there's actually more coming up, but yeah. I want to leave it there for today because I already reached the 1 hour mark on my recording. But yes, you get to see how Murdoch's family runs him ragged, and I suspect that the father may have dementia or at least some memory problems. Because, I mean, his interactions with people seem to be like he forgets things and then gets mad about it, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but is very typical with people that suffer from dementia. Like, they get angry that they forgot something or that you're trying to remind them of something that they should know, but to them it's like new information. Like meeting new people, for example. Or meeting people that they should know of. And for them it's like, oh, well, who's this person that I'm just meeting for the first time? But it's like, I already know you. You know who I am. But anyways, thank you all for watching / listening, and if you would like to play any of the Echo Project games, there will be links down in the description. If you would like to support the Echo Project, there will be a link in the itch pages down in the description for their Patreon, which I should probably just put the Patreon link in my description sooner or later. And I strongly suggest that you do support them because these stories are really good and they deserve a little bit of support. I mean, I support them, but the more people that do, shows them that they really are doing some really good work. Oh, and as it turns out, there will not be a Kamiya update for some time. Instead, there will actually be Ad Astra content coming up. And it has a tentative title called Ad Astra Cities, which will be focusing on the time in between where between where the main character and Amicus are going to go pick up Cassius and Alexius. And yeah, it's kind of nice that we're going to get a little bit more Ad Astra content. And hopefully Kamiya will be back during the summer or after the summer. We'll just have to see how Howley is doing. But yeah, Arches will be coming out next month though, since he's already, working on that. And hopefully the Jenna, probably the last update for Jenna, will be released at the end of February, which is this month. So that's something to look forward to. And but yeah, after I'm done with this one, with the Smoke Room, what they currently have out, I will be working on Far From the World, or Far Beyond the World, I think it's called. And I've actually already done that in my spare time, but I liked it enough that I want to do it for YouTube. So yeah. I guess I will see you guys later, and goodbye.